Have you ever felt stuck or uninspired in your podcasting journey? Well, this is something that most podcasters, even the ones who are established, feel a lot of times. And this is a point where you need some motivation. And as a podcaster, what better motivation than listening to a few podcasts? So in today's video, we're going to talk about 10 motivational podcasts that will keep you inspired and motivated in your podcasting journey. Hello and welcome to TPU TV. This is Dilip. If you're new here and you don't know me, then I'm a podcaster, blogger, and affiliate marketer. I run the popular podcast called as a podcasting university where I share a lot of practical and implementable podcasting tips. So if you haven't subscribed to the show, then you might want to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast listening platform and give it a listen every week on Tuesday when I release a new episode. And this is a channel where I share a lot of practical tips on podcasting. And if you're new here, then you might want to subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification in order to stay updated with the latest videos that I release, because I share a lot of practical videos here on this channel. And if you're new to podcasting and you want to get started with your own podcast, then you might want to join my free podcasting course on thepodcastinguniversity.com/free-guide. It's a 10-day course where I teach you everything that you will need to know to get started with your own podcast. So why pay for something when you can get it for free? Join the course today. You'll be able to find a link in the description box below. Go ahead, click the link and join the free course. On to today's episode, inspiration or motivation. In fact, podcasts are most related to inspiration because people listen to a lot of inspirational or motivational podcasts, and that's where they feel that they get a lot of the motivation that is required. And as podcasters and as a podcaster, I too go to some of these podcasts to get the much needed inspiration. And a lot of times as a content creator, I too feel demotivated when something is not working, and I feel a little dejected and down and out. And that's when I prefer listening to one of these podcasts, which then inspires me to get going again. So here are the top 10 best motivational podcasts that will keep you inspired on your podcasting journey and something that you should be subscribing to. So let's get started. Number 1, the Tim Ferriss Show. Now, Tim Ferriss is not a name that you would not have heard about. The famous author of the 4-Hour Work Week has his podcast where he talks to successful people, successful guests that he brings onto the show and talks to them about their journey and how they succeeded with whatever it is that they are doing. Tim Ferriss is an excellent interviewer and he's able to get a lot of information out from his guests. And most of these episodes have a lot of motivation and inspiration in it. So if you're looking to get some inspiration from some of these successful people, then it is a podcast that you need to be subscribed to. Number 2, The School of Greatness. The School of Greatness is a show that is hosted by Lewis Howes, and this podcast is all about achieving greatness in all forms of life or all walks of life. And Lewis interviews successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and high achievers and extract a lot of this inspirational information from them. Conversations about how their life has been, what the journey has been like, provides a lot of inspiration that can keep you motivated and inspired in your podcasting journey. So if you're looking for motivation, especially when the times are tough, then The School of Greatness is a podcast that you should be subscribed to. Number 3, the Creative Pen Podcast. This is a podcast that is hosted by Joanna Penn, and it focuses primarily on content creation, on the creative process of writing and publishing. Though it is not specifically about podcasting, but since podcasting is another form of content creation, there is a lot of information that is shared on this podcast that can be applied to podcasting as well. And Joanna is an excellent teacher, and she is able to break down some of these complex concepts into easy to understand, simple steps. And if you're looking for inspiration to take your content creation game to the next level, then this podcast is something that you should be subscribed to. The fourth one is Smart Passive Income Podcast. Now, this is a podcast that I've been following for long. I think from the 2010 onwards. This is a podcast that is hosted by Pat Flynn, and there is a lot of information that is shared on this podcast. Not specifically about podcasts, but a lot of information about podcasting as well. But Pat also interviews a lot of these successful people, successful entrepreneurs, online business owners, and talks to them about their journey. And the information that they share can be a lot of inspiration and motivation for anybody who wants to take that route. So smart passive income is something that you definitely need to listen to if you're into any form of online marketing or online business. Number 5, the Gary Vee Experience. Now, this is a podcast that is hosted by Gary Vaynerchuk, and I'm sure if you've been into any form of content creation, then Gary is not somebody that you would not have heard of. And this is an amazing podcast that talks about the hustle around online businesses and the hard work that is involved in running those online businesses. In this podcast, Gary shares a lot of his insights and advice on how to build a successful business and run it successfully. And Gary is a no-nonsense guy. He's a straight shooter. He doesn't sugarcoat things. So whatever is there, he puts it out in that particular format, even if it is something that you don't like. So I'm sure you will find a lot of golden nuggets in the wisdom that he shares. And this is a podcast that can help you know if something that you're doing is the right thing or not. And if you're looking for a kick on your backside to get going again, then the Gary Vee audio experience is something that you should definitely listen to. Number 6, the James Altucher Show. Now, this is a podcast that is hosted by James Altucher, and this podcast features interviews with successful individuals from various fields. And James focuses primarily on their personal struggles and their personal stories, which can provide a lot of inspiration to anybody who wants to get started with their own podcast. And James is an absolutely amazing interviewer, and the kind of information that he's able to extract from his guests is amazing. And you're sure to be inspired if you're listening to the James Altucher Show. Number 7, the Mind Valley Podcast. Now, the Mind Valley Podcast is hosted by Vishen Lakhiani, and it features interviews with different kind of personalities. You will find experts from personality development, spirituality, and business. So you'll find people from all walks of life on this podcast. And the podcast also covers a lot of different topics like how to achieve your goals, how to achieve mindfulness, how to stay focused on your goals, and a lot of those things. All of this can be extremely inspiring if you are into something like podcasting, which can at times be a little demotivating and taxing. So if you're looking for some motivation and some guidance on how to go about staying organized in life and how to achieve all of your goals, then the Mind Valley Podcast is something that you should definitely be subscribed to. Number 8, the Gold Digger Podcast. The Gold Digger Podcast is hosted by Jenna Kachar. Now, Jenna Kachar is an amazing social media expert, strategist. She runs a very successful online business, and the information that she shares about everything online, all kind of online businesses, digital marketing, social media, is immense, and it's extremely valuable. In this podcast, Jenna shares her insights and ideas and advices on how to run a successful business, and at the same time, she also interviews a lot of experts who are running successful online businesses. So if you're looking to learn some of the tips and tricks of running online businesses, or even using your podcast as an online business and making money with it, then this podcast, the Gold Digger Podcast, is something that you should definitely be listening to. And if you're not following Jenna Kachar on social media, on Instagram, then I think you should follow her, because you will be able to learn a lot about the social media strategies from her social media handles as well. Number 10, the Tony Robbins Podcast. This podcast is hosted by Tony Robbins, and I'm sure that is not a new name for you. So if you talk about anything motivation or inspiration, then the first name that comes to your mind is that of Tony. He runs a lot of these workshops and online sessions where he talks a lot about how to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing. Now, in this podcast, Tony shares a lot of his tips, insights, and advices on how to succeed in anything that you do and live a fulfilling life. Tony is a master of personal development. So you'll be able to learn a lot of these tips on how to develop yourself personally as well on this podcast. So this is a podcast that you should definitely listen to if you're looking for some much needed inspiration and also some tips on personal development. The 10th and the last one is Happier with Gretchen Rubin. Now, this is a podcast that is hosted by Gretchen, who is a happiness expert and the author of the best-selling book, The Happiness Project. Now, in this podcast, Gretchen shares her insights, tips, and advice on how to live a happier life. And this podcast is great for anyone who's looking to learn how to improve the happiness and well-being in their lives. And Gretchen is an expert in it, and you will find a lot of golden nuggets in this podcast that will help you stay inspired on your podcasting journey as well. So those were the 10 motivational podcasts that I recommend for you as podcasters if you're looking to stay inspired in your podcasting journey. There are a lot of other motivational podcasts as well. Like, for example, the podcast from Jay Shetty is another one that I regularly listen to, and podcasts from Seth Godin, the Akimbo podcast. So these are all podcasts that are extremely valuable, can provide you with a lot of information, a lot of insights, and can also help you stay focused on your goals and stay on track with your podcasting goals as well. So if you're looking for motivation or inspiration, then I would definitely recommend you to subscribe to one or more of these podcasts and keep listening to it regularly, because that will help you stay on track with your podcasting goals. So what is your favorite motivational or inspirational podcast? Do let me know by commenting below. I would love to hear from you, and maybe I would want to give it a listen and include that in my list as well. So that is all that I had for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, then do give this video a thumbs up. That way other people will be able to discover this video and watch it. That is all that I have for this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification in order to stay updated with the latest videos that I release. I'll be back again with another video around podcasting the next week. Until then, keep watching TPU TV. This is goodbye from Dilip.